I mean, you're much more higher educated than I am.
No, we have the same amount of education.
Well, same amount, but not the quality.
I mean, I went to film school as an undergrad. It was like a trade school.
You went through film school, then you ended up in UCLA law. Like, how's that happen?
You know, film school was something I always wanted to do.
You do like claymation? You big Gumby fan?
No.
Oh, come on.
No, I did the like in your face. I was always
Really?
the kid walking around at the family parties with like, you know, back then they had the big camcorders. And actually those are some of the best family memories now that,
Really?
you know, I took. So how did I get to film school? I just wanted to go to New York. I was like, fuck it, get me out of California.
But you grew up in NorCal.
I did. I grew up in the Bay Area, which was fantastic. Went camping. I always had a flashlight, a sleeping bag, and a jug of water in the car. Oh yeah, and the Thomas Guide. Because we would just drive up and down the coast, find hot springs.
What is a Thomas Guide?
What? Oh, come on.
I know Thomas the Train. Is that his name?
You're the same age as I am. You gotta remember the Thomas Guide. Come on.
I'm just fucking with you.
Yeah, that was the shit.
But then what was your journey like? Fuck it, I'll go to film school in New York.
Yeah, I just you know, I wanted to go to film school, so it was either NYU or USC. And they both had these
Which had less snobs.
well, that's exactly it. So I went
punchline, sorry. Gotcha.
I went to a one of those meet and greets, and I went to the USC one, and I was just like, what the hell? I mean, I went to a Catholic school, but I had like purple hair. I was, you know, I was a weird kid.
But how's that the uniform? They don't let you do that at Catholic school.
They do if you're one of the top kids in the class.
Really?
Yeah. So I got away with it. So I went to the USC one, and I was just like, oh God, no. And then people at the NYU one were funky. They had, you know, leather jackets and green hair, and I was like, I'm going to NYU because I can fit in here.
So you fucking go to New York, and it is, how old were you, 18, 19 when this happened?
I was 18 years old.
So did you get to New York and was like, fuck this, I'm going back to California?
No, God, no. I stayed for 10 years. Yeah.
Wow, because you went to law school after all of that.
I went to law school at 28.
Wow.
So, yeah. Was it 20? Yeah, I was 28 when I went.
So how did that go down?
Well, I had done the film thing. That didn't work out.
So yeah, why didn't that not work out? Like what? So I want you to translate for everybody that's watching this show. How did you take that? How did that go from film school? Because your storytelling, when you're in front of the jury now, a lot of storytelling, facts and law mixed in between. How do you use what you learned in film, and how do you apply it now?
So when you're directing a film or producing a film, you're doing the same thing that you do when you put together a trial, right? You're deciding the witnesses, who's going to tell the story, who's the main character. You know, what's my setup?
Are you always the protagonist in your stories for trial?
No, God, no. No.
Who's the villain? You get to pick your villain, actually.
For trial?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I mean, the villain appears. You know, it's the person who hurt your client. And, you know, of course, the villains are also, their supporting characters are the defense experts.
Who's the Iago of your trials?
The Iago of my trials?
It
Oh,
could
God.
be.
Okay, skip this part. The who?
Iago, that's Iago. That is the one of the Shakespearean plays. Fuck, I can't remember who it is. But it's like the one that whispers all the time, so it's like this subtitle bad guy with the real bad guy. But it could be, for me, like finding your villain.
So
It's weird you do this because I always thought like trial was a production in my mind.
It is.
Yeah.
It totally is. You know, and the nuts and bolts of producing, right? You're producing a movie, you've got to do the call sheet. Who's coming every day? That's like getting out your subpoenas.
I like this.
What's the order going to be? How are you going to shoot the shots? What's the most effective way to, you know, okay, we're going to have to shoot this scene before this scene, but you know, we have to do this scene first.
Because you're storytelling it from start to finish.
Right.
Do you do blocking when you're in trial?
I don't do blocking. Well, sometimes that's not true. The wrongful death trial that I did in Ventura in 2019, we actually did a lot of blocking because we had.
But were you strategic and thought process about it? Like, was this part of your?
Yes.
This is wow.
Yeah. So because we had, what do they call it? The horse, the sawhorses that you have the lights on.
What the fuck are you talking about?
You know, like when you block off. What are they?
Sawhorses, go with it.
Sawhorses, whatever, with
Whatever.
the lights. The sawhorses that have the lights. So you have something on the side of the road, you have flashing lights that you have to block it off with.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Right.
Okay, I see it.
And so in our case,
It
they
might be
had
sawhorses.
I think it's a sawhorse.
You might be right. Don't know.
It's a
It's fine.
sawhorse. So in our case, they didn't use the right ones. So we brought the right one in, and we wanted the jury to see the whole time how big it was, how big the flashing lights were. So we
Judge
placed
let
it
you do that?
strategically.
Judge let you just put them there? Interesting.
So that was all, how do we display this constantly so the jury can see, what they should have done. So yeah.